Hi there, I am Treats or Tristan, and in just a few weeks, actually tomorrow, so this is a little bit last minute video, Barbie and I fly out to San Diego, and then in a few days we will be starting our through hike of the Pacific Crest Trail. And today I'm gonna go over all the gear that I'm starting the trail with you. I tried to get Barbie to want to share his gear too, but he decided he didn't really want to share, but I'm gonna share everything that I'm taking and then a few of the things that we'll be sharing on our through hike. So first, I'm gonna grab my bag down here and show you all the clothes that I will be wearing day to day on the trail. So first up, very, very important, probably one of your most important pieces of gear. These are the shoes that I will be wearing. These are the Hoka Speedgoat Mid tops. These are actually their older version. They came out with a newer version recently, and I went and tried them on at REI, and I hate them. So I actually found the old version on Nordstrom Rack, and I bought like 3 pairs. And then hopefully when I get through those 3, I'll be able to find something that I like. But these, not these specific pair, but these type of shoes went down the entire Appalachian Trail with me, so I know they're comfortable, I know that my feet like them, and can't wait to head down the PCT with them. Next up is my trekking poles. These are different than the ones that I took on the AT. These are the Fazan, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, compact trekking poles, and these are PCT specific poles. They are almost as lightweight as the poles that I carried on the AT, but they are made with aluminum instead of carbon fiber. So if I snap them, they will bend instead of cracking. I'm really excited about these. I've taken them on some shakedown hikes and I think I'm gonna love them. Then I have my trusty Get Sprints Flying Pigs hat. It is super lightweight, but what really makes this hat magical is that my mom did a special little high ponytail hole in it for me, which means that I can get my hair off the back of my neck. So this is headed back out on the PCT with me. These are Patagonia baggies. I took the Barely baggies on the AT with me, but I felt like on the AT that once my legs got stronger and my butt got bigger, the shorts got a little too short. So these are the baggies that are 5 inches long, so that hopefully they'll keep me covered a little bit better. But I love how durable these are, and they also dry really quickly. And then on my top half, I am, of course, if you know me and you watched my AT videos, I am wearing a Jolly Gear Triple Crown button down, but this is the pool party pattern, or I like to call it the treats pattern, because there are donuts and popsicles and pretzels on it. But yeah, I love these shirts. I wore a Jolly Gear the entirety of the AT, and I love the sun hood, I love the thumb holes, and I love that I can pop my hair through the hole in the back. So I'm excited to take this along on the PCT. For my socks, I have my Injinji toe socks. I get really bad blisters, and especially really bad toe blisters, but wearing these on the entirety of the Appalachian Trail helped keep my feet pretty much blister free. There were still a few blisters, but these worked magic, and so this is a brand new pair of Injinjis to take along the Pacific Crest Trail, and they will hopefully keep me blister free out there too. For my bra, this is same but updated, so it's the same bra but it's a newer version. This is the Branwyn, oh shoot, I can't remember the entire name, but it's the one that's got more coverage. And it's really comfy. It's merino wool. I like it because I sweat a lot, and so that when I sweat a lot, when it later gets colder, it doesn't make me cold because merino wool is moisture wicking. So I find this really comfortable, even though it has these little metal pieces back here. I really like it, and quite honestly, this is the only piece of my gear that didn't really reek after the AT, and I actually still wear the one that I wore on the AT like at home, but it was a little stretched out, so I got a new one. So I love this, excited to take it on this trail. Next up, I have my underwear. These are the ExOfficion Bikini Brief Sport Mesh. They're super breathable. These are actually the ones that I took on the AT. I did try to get some new ones, but they just, I don't know if they're not made the same, but they're just not as comfortable. So these are headed back out with me, and hopefully they will make it down another trail. If not, I'm gonna have to find some other underwear I really like. I also, before I forget this, I have my Garmin Fenix 5. I have had this watch for I think about 7 years. I got it originally to train for running and triathlons and everything, and I love this watch, and I don't really track the hiking, but I don't want to get a new watch when I love this one. So this one's going, and if I do want to record any hiking, I absolutely can. The other thing going on my wrist is my road ID. This is basically like a fancy medical ID. It's got my name on it and then my emergency contacts. So if something were to happen, that somebody can call my loved ones. For the feet, I also have my fun little tie-dye gaiters. I don't know what it is about hiking, but when I hike, I am like Pigpen from Peanuts, and I kick dirt all in my shoes to the point where like I would have to dump dirt out of them. But my gaiters, these really help keep the dirt out, and I know that that will be super helpful in the desert. So these are coming back out for the second adventure with me. Lastly, for my worn gear, I have my trusty fanny pack. This is in fact the same one that also went on the Appalachian Trail with me, that made it 2,000 plus miles. So in here, I have my corded headphones. I don't really like the Bluetooth ones. I don't want to deal with charging them, so we're just taking corded ones. That worked great on the AT, so we're going with what worked. These are my glasses covers. So my glasses are Pair Eyewear, and what I love about them is that I can just magnet them on, and it's great. And this also prevents me from having to deal with contacts and stick my fingers in my eyes, or having to deal with multiple pairs of glasses. And then in the big pocket, I would usually have my phone, but that's what the video is on. I have a copy of my permit for the PCT, my wallet, my face sunscreen, because in the desert, this is definitely going to be needed. I have my mace, just because you never know. I also have my headlamp. So that's everything that goes into the fanny pack, and that is basically everything that will be worn on a day-to-day basis. Okay, now that we've talked about all of my gear that I'm going to wear on the day-to-day, let's get into my pack. All right, let's start with the pack itself. I really wanted to go with a lighter pack for this trail. I really did. I tried the ULA circuit. I also tried, Osprey came out with an Ija Pro that is actually like a pound lighter than this Ija, and I thought it was going to be absolutely perfect. And then I tried it on and it fit weird. I got the exact same size as this one, and it just wiggled, and and I know that with lighter weight packs, like, stuff's gonna feel different, but I just didn't like it. And I wanna be comfortable if I'm doing another 2,000 plus through hike. So I'm going back to my reliable Ija that I absolutely love, and I will be taking an Osprey Ija 58 liter with me out on the PCT. So that's the pack I'm taking. Let's go over the little stuff back here. I once again have my Garmin InReach. This is to be able to text my mom when I don't have service, and so that I have a little bit of peace of mind if shit really hits the fan and I need to press this SOS button. In the pockets here, I don't really have anything yet. This is usually where I put my snacks during the day. In this pocket, I have a bug net. I know that typically you might not need one until later on, but I am very sensitive to bugs, and it's so lightweight, it weighs like nothing, that I'm just gonna go ahead and tuck it in there. I then have a smart water bottle with a sport cap, and I tuck it into, this is a Justin's UL water bottle holder. This is again, a newer version of the same thing I took on the AT. My other one was a little bit worn, but so I bought a new one and attached it here. I love being able to grab for my water and not have to reach all the way around for it. So that is what is on this pack, on this side of the pack. I also have an umbrella holder, and I'll talk about my umbrella in a little bit, but I have the umbrella holder right here. All right, in the side pockets, I have my other smart water bottle. I like to have two, and then I also will have a CNOC, which I'll get to in a little bit. So I have my smart water bottle here. This is my sit pad. I loved having this on the AT. It just offered me a little bit of comfort if I didn't want to sit in the dirt for a few minutes. And it's so light that it's worth it. So that's what's in this pocket. Oh, I also have my spoon. This will go in my Ursack at some point, but for now I also sometimes just keep it in the pocket right here. So on this side, I have my water kit, and I have my Sawyer squeeze. This was handy dandy and trusty along the entire AT, and this is a brand new one, but I will be taking it along the PCT. We also, Barbie and I are each taking a 3-liter CNOC, and then we have this tiny little plastic coupling tool that helps us do the anti-gravity system and lets us hang our water from a tree and easily filter it without having to stand with the bladder between our legs. On the AT, we carry just a 2-liter bladder because water is so readily available on the AT, but for this trail, just because we might have to do some lot bigger water carries, we both have the 3-liter CNOC. Also in this pocket, I have my rain cover. I'm not sure I'm gonna need this. I think that I'm just so sensitive to rain because of the AT that I have my rain cover. I also know the desert's been there's been some weird weather there as from what I've seen from PCT hikers already out there, so I have my rain cover just in case I need it. And I also have rain pants. Again, I'm not sure that I'll need these, but the amount of chilly mornings that it was just easy to slip these on until I warmed up, and they're so lightweight, so I just stuffed these in there. These are both Amazon purchases. I think this is called like the Joy rain cover, and this is the I'm not even sure what these are called. I think it's called Axquin, something like that. But I promise that I will have my lighter pack linked below so that anything that you want to see a little bit more of, or if you want to grab something for yourself, I will have it linked. But yeah, these are the, again, new pair, but same type of pants that I took on the AT, and they actually held up pretty well until I butt scooted in the whites with them. So yeah, brand new pair, and I'm sure that they'll make it pretty far on this trail. This is also the same type of pack cover that I used on the AT. Again, it's a new one because when I butt scooted in the whites, I also ripped this pack cover. So, but it's a new one, and other than that, unless you're scraping them against rocks, they held up pretty well. There's a hawk that keeps talking. But let's get into the front pocket, the last pocket before we dig into the inside. So in here I have my poop kit because you never know when nature calls, so you want to have that easily accessible. I have wipes in here. I prefer wipes over toilet paper. I just find it keeps me a little bit cleaner, and I do pack all of these out, so no worries there. I have some pad liners just in case. I have my Deuce #2 trowel. This is the handy one that came all along the AT. It's super lightweight and it gets the job done. Have hand sanitizer because that's a must-have in your poop kit. And lastly, in my little hygiene kit is my menstrual cup. For my ladies or for anyone who has a period, this is great, and it actually makes, at least for me, having a period on trail a lot easier because you don't have to deal with packing out pads or tampons or anything messy. So this is my go-to for hiking, backpacking, through hiking, or just every day. Next in this pocket is my curating. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but again, as I mentioned, I am really sensitive to bugs. This is what I used almost all along the AT. We did use some DEET at some points, but this seemed to work really well. I prefer the lotion as compared to the spray because the spray always seems to leak in my bag and this doesn't, and I just feel like it covers me better because I'm rubbing it in instead of just spraying it. So I love this. I'm carrying the full bottle. I'm gonna use it. So also up here, I know that people are gonna be shaking their heads because I'm carrying this entire roll of Leukotape. However, I started the AT with an entire big fat piece of Leukotape like this, and it was down to this by the end. I use it, I share it with Barbie, we share it with friends who need it. This is a godsend for any types of blister issues we have, or just honestly any kind of rubbing or anything. We just slap some Leukotape on it. I love it, and you know what, if we're not using it as much on this trail, then I will send it home. But I love Leukotape. I swear by it for my blisters. It is the only thing that does not sweat off, and so it's worth it to me to carry this big roll. Here is our Tyvek, and this will be the bottom underneath of our tent. This will be our ground sheet. I have never used an actual ground sheet for a tent. I've always used something like Tyvek. It's just a little bit lighter weight, and to me, I think it's a little bit more durable than the Polycro. I just can't fathom using something that's essentially like plastic wrap to protect my tent. But we like the Tyvek because it seems to offer a decent amount of protection, and we like that if we really wanted to, we could just spread this out and sit on it, or if we needed to lay out our gear, we can kind of lay this out and lay our gear on it. So we're excited about the Tyvek again, and yeah. Lastly, on the outside of my pack, I have my Kula cloth, and this is for anybody who squats when they pee. When I have to pee, I just squat and wipe with this antimicrobial side. It is clean right now, it's freshly washed. And yeah, then it just clips on my pack, and it's super easy, and I feel a lot cleaner using this than I do with toilet paper. I carried one on the entirety of the AT, and it worked great. And I think it's gonna work great again this time. And then these, I know that a lot of people, to go lighter weight, they ditch their camp shoes. I just can't fathom getting to camp and keeping the same shoes that I've had on the entire day still on. I know that there's probably lighter weight options out there, but these are the Hoka Aura recovery slides. I am obsessed with Hoka, obviously. I love their hiking boots and their running shoes and the support that they have in them. And so these slides are just so comfortable. They were my camp shoes for the AT, and I know that they're gonna be super comfortable for when I get into camp and my feet hurt on the PCT. And the beauty of all of this is that if there's something that I decide that maybe I can live without, I can always ship it home. Let's get into the inside of the pack. So I, of course, have my trusty contractor's bag in here. And that's, again, because I'm conditioned to the AT. And so if it were to rain or we were to have some condensation, that's gonna make sure that everything inside this pack stays dry, which, again, especially if you're doing the AT, is really important, but I wanna make sure everything stays dry on the PCT too, just because I know, again, there has been some weird weather this year, especially in the desert. First up is my Talenti jar. When I was on the AT, I pretty much gave up my cook stove because my little stove would always burn my pot and I just could never get it clean and it was really gross, and so I just hated it. So I started cold soaking my oatmeal, and then I basically started making everything else in the bag that they came in, and I used Barbie's stove when I needed to heat things up, and that worked really well. And so that's what I'm gonna do this time, is I'm gonna cold soak a lot of things, so like ramen and my oatmeal, and then on the occasion that I wanna heat some stuff up, I'm gonna just use the bag that it comes in. So like I usually heat up Idaho and mashed potatoes. So I love the Talenti jars, I think they're great. And then a fun addition, let me set the pack down, that I added to this year's Talenti jar is, let me see if I can find it is Jar Genius, or Hike Life, created these little stickers that you can measure for water measurements for the cup. And I attached the sticker onto that Talenti jar, so that's gonna make cold soaking and my oatmeal so much easier. Love inventiveness of other hikers. For my food bag, I also have my Ursack. This is the same trusty Ursack that went on the AT with us. I'm pretty sure this is the major XL. I don't have my food in it because my food bag is definitely too heavy. It is a hefty bag, and I just didn't want to deal with it out here. But I will also have my OpSack liner, which is a smell-proof bag, to go inside this. And this is for, I think mine's rated for critters and for bears. And so this just gives Barbie and I, we both each have one, and it'll give us a little bit of peace of mind so that critters aren't in our food. I won't need these yet, but I'm showing them to you. This is a Sierra specific piece of gear. These are my Catula micro spikes, and we will mostly need these for the Sierra. And these are just gonna give us a little bit of extra traction if it's icy or snowy condition. They are basically just snow spikes that you can attach onto your shoes. Next up, these were kind of a last minute addition, but Barbie was bringing some and I really liked his idea. So I'm obviously pretty pale, and I know that the sun might start to bother me. So these are the REI Trail Made pants. Oh, the bag's going down. These are the REI Trail Made pants. They are super lightweight, and I just think that if I need some more sun coverage on my legs, like if the desert sun just gets to be too much, these are gonna be great. And I'm hoping that they're loose enough that they won't give me like heat blisters. Like I had pants on the AT for a little while and I had the worst like heat blisters, and yeah, so if these do cause heat blisters, then they'll come back home. I love them on a day-to-day, and I'm just hoping that I'll love them in the desert. Next is my little like hygiene first aid kit. There's probably also a lot of stuff in here for now, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I know what I can carry after doing the AT, and so I'm okay with carrying all of this. I have some tenacious tape for any gear repairs we might need. In here are my earplugs. As most of you know, sometimes sleeping near other people, they can be a little noisy, and Barbie does snore sometimes. So these are gonna make sure I get a nice peaceful sleep at night. I have some iron, some Advil, and some Zyrtec in here. Doxycyclone. I'm hoping ticks aren't as big of a problem, but I wanna have it just in case, because they say you pack your fears. and bugs are definitely a fear of mine. Especially ticks. Again, I'm really sensitive to insects and insect bites. I got touched by a blister beetle in Virginia on the AT, and my arm like had a giant nasty blister on it. So anyways, they say you pack your fears, and so I'm packing these to prevent my fears. I have a little tiny packable hairbrush just to keep my hair gets really tangly. So this is the same little cheap piece of plastic I bought from the dollar store before my AT Thru-Hike. And until it completely falls apart, it's gonna come on the trail with me. I have some KT tape, just a few strips. I know when we started the AT, both Barbie and I had a little bit of pain in our knees. And so we're bringing a few strips of this just in case we have any other issues. Next up is Body Glide. Because we're gonna be in the desert, we're both a little bit worried about chafing, so I'm bringing some Body Glide just to help mitigate that a little bit. Of course, again, like I mentioned, I'm really pale, and so if we are in our shorts, I want sunscreen. I got 70 SPF because, again, I get really easily sunburnt. And here I have some extra hair ties. I have my Swiss Army knife, and I have nail clippers. I have some bug ointment, toothpaste. My toothbrush will go in here when I pack it tomorrow because I need it. This is some other medication, like some Imodium, if you know, you know. And then also we have some backup water filtration just because we know that water in the desert can be a little iffy sometimes. And then lastly in here, I have a little bit of face glitter. I have been using face glitter when I do some of my running races, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle and magic to the day. So if I'm needing a little sparkle or magic, I'm taking this little mini thing of glitter. So it's inconsequential and it's gonna bring joy. Okay. Next up is my electronics. I really kind of dialed this down a little bit. It's still kind of heavy, but it's better than it was. I am taking the same little Hartford Gear Co. Ditty bag that I did for the AT. I just love this color, honestly. I think it's so pretty, and it fits all of my electronics in it. So what I have in here is I have my Anker power bank. This is the 20,000 one, and so it is about a pound. However, it gives me the peace of mind to know that my phone is going to be charged, my Garmin is going to be charged, my watch and headlamp are all going to be perfectly charged. So the wait for this is worth it to me. I also I changed my little plug-in. This isn't a big change, but this is definitely lighter than the Anker wall plug that I used to have. This is called a Moken. It has 2 USB-C ports, and it is just a little bit lighter than what I had. So one cord is missing from this bag because it's upstairs, and that is my USB-C to C cord, and that is for my iPhone, my Garmin, and a few other things. But this is what I'm really excited about. I was able to replace, I used to carry 4 cords, and now I'm only carrying 2. And I have all these little, I don't know if you can see them, but I have all these little adapters. So I have an adapter for my headlamp on here and an adapter for my Garmin. So basically I can use one cord and then just change the little head on it. And it's a lot lighter and a lot less heftier than carrying 4 different cords. And again, if you're interested in any of these things, I will have everything in my lighter pack so that if you want to have like less cords, you can go look at these little adapters. All right, this one is a big gear change too. Again, I know it doesn't rain that much in the desert. However, I wore my rain jacket so much on the AT, even when it wasn't raining, as like a windbreaker, as like an extra layer to keep warm. I loved wearing that thing. And although I still love that rain jacket, I wanted something a little bit lighter this go round. And so I opted for the Montbell Versalite. This is like half the weight of my other rain jacket, and it seems great so far. And I'm really excited to check it out on the PCT. So, and also I love the color. If you remember from the AT, or if you're new here, I don't like inflatable pillows. I don't find them comfortable. I don't think that they squish naturally. And so back when I did the AT, I found, I think it's called the Elon Quest pillow stuff sack, and I carried it throughout the whole AT. I like that I can adjust how much clothes is in here. I like there's this side, and then I can actually make it reversible, and there's a fuzzy side on the inside. And I like that it doubles as a stuff sack. So let's get into my pillow stuff sack. These are my sleep socks. These are just thick, smart wool socks. These were on the AT, and honestly, when it rained or when I was cold, there was nothing like changing into these socks at the end of the day. So I'm bringing them. This is my spare pair of Injinji toe socks. Something that I didn't mention with the other ones is that these are the Ultra Run Injinjis, both are, because the normal ones are just a little bit thinner and they don't last as long, but these are the Ultra Run ones are just a little bit thicker and they seem to hold together a little bit better. I have my trusty Carhartt beanie. I honestly looked at lighter beanies, but there's just something so comforting about these and I love them, so I'm going with what I love. It's a bit of a change. I'm not sure I'm gonna like it. So on the Appalachian Trail, for the entirety of the trail, I carried my Melanzana microgrid, and I love Melly. I love Melly. It was like a comfort blanket to me. But I'm trying something a little bit new for this trail. This is the Mountain Hardwear Air Mesh hoodie. It is super light. It's as light as Alpha Fleece, and so it's got that like breathable type fabric that I don't really know the science behind, but so far I really like it, and it's warm and fuzzy on the inside, and again it's supposed to be a little bit more breathable, so we'll see. If not, my mom has Melly and will mail Melly for me, but we're gonna try this out and see how it does. This is my Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer puffy. This is the same puffy I carried on the AT. I actually only had to use this a few times on the AT, and mainly in Georgia and Tennessee, but I loved it. It's super lightweight. I love the color. I love that it has a hood, and I have a few different things from Mountain Hardwear that are just super trustworthy and have lasted. I have one jacket that I've had I've had for 14 years and I still wear it. So I love Mountain Hardwear. I love that the gear they make, and yeah, I really like this puffy. These are my Duluth Buck Naked underwear. As I mentioned earlier, I really like ExOfficion underwear, but for whatever reason they've changed the style a little bit and I don't like them as much. So I want to try out some other things that I might find comfortable, and people rave about these, so they've felt comfortable on some shakedown hikes, and so we'll see how they hold up out on the PCT. Plus they have some really fun patterns. They actually had one, not to get in a full discussion about my underwear, but they had these ones that had raccoons on them, but they were out in my size. But raccoon underwear just sounds adorable. Anyways, that is all of my packed clothing that I will be taking on the PCT. This is our tent. The tent stakes are also in here, but this is the Zpacks Duplex tent. I'm gonna be honest, Barbie mostly picked this out. I am really happy with how light it is. We've had friends that have used it and loved it. It seems to have a little bit of a higher bathtub, which we're really excited about. And you know, we spent most of our time on the AT in a one-person tent. And then the next half in a two-person tent. And so I think this two-person tent is gonna be great. It also comes with a set that makes it freestanding. So if it comes to a point on the trail where instead of having to use our trekking poles, we need to make it freestanding, we can do that with this tent. So that was also a big plus for us because we're not as used to the elements out in the desert, or on the Sierras or any part of the PCT. We're all used to the East Coast. So yeah, so we're excited about this tent. And then the stakes in here, I know that they're Sea to Summit, but other than that, I'm not really sure. I know that they're super lightweight, but I will have them listed below. So we're excited about this Zpacks tent. It weighs like nothing. Yeah. I will not be carrying this. Barbie will be carrying this. This is our Xped Duo sleeping pad. We chose this because we have done the 2 different sleeping pad things, and we decided that we like this better because then one of us doesn't end up in the crack between the 2 sleeping pads, so this is more comfortable for us. And also because in the end, it kind of ends out kind of weighing the same if one of us carries the tent and all the gear with that, and one of us carries this. So this is just what works for us. We used this from Pennsylvania onwards on the AT. It did get a hole in it by the end, so this is again a new version of the same Xped Duo pad. But we really like it and it really works well for us. Last thing in the pack. This is my trusty Enlightened Equipment 10-degree quilt that I love, that came down the entire AT with me. I know for the desert that's probably gonna be maybe a little bit warm, but I sleep cold. I mean, I sleep better because I sleep warmer because I have Barbie with me, but I carried this on the entire AT. You know, if I don't use it because it's a quilt, I can kind of open it up. So yeah, I like it. So that's this guy. And again, I am conditioned to the AT, so I have it in its waterproof Sea to Summit stuff sack. This is just what I like. Again, maybe later on I will learn better and not put it in this stuff sack, but for now, it's gonna go in the stuff sack to make sure it stays nice and dry because it is down and it is not synthetic. Some desert and specific Sierra gear. I am taking a sun umbrella. Again, back to how I am very pale and I get sunburnt very easily. So I am taking a 6 Moons umbrella, and it is going to attach to the pack right here, and then it's going to keep the sun off of me and hopefully reflect some of the sun away from me. And then if we want to just, like, you know, take a break and have some shade, because from what I have heard, there is like no shade in the desert, so we're gonna have to make our own, and I think these are great. I think that this one, Barbie got a different one than me. I think he got a Gossamer gear, and again I got a 6 Moons, and from what we found, we think mine's a little bit wider. So yeah, I'm happy with my choice, and I think mine might be a little bit lighter. So the sun umbrella will be coming for the desert. And then of course in the Sierra, we will have to carry our bear canisters. The ice axes that I mentioned will be in the Sierras. And then lastly, we are picking, or not the ice axes, the micro spikes we will be getting in the Sierra. And then the ice axe we are actually picking up when we get into San Diego. I will post a picture of the one that we are getting. I think I got the 55 size and Barbie got the 65 based on our height. We got a little bit different one than the normal one people get, the Camp Corsa. We got a little bit different one than that. But we just feel like the one that we got is a little bit toothier and that it's gonna grab into ice a little bit better should we need it. Hopefully we will not. But the bear canister, this is just your standard bear vault. It is the BV 500. Barbie and I both started out the AT with bear canisters, which we quickly decided that we did not want to carry this extra weight, and that's when we went to the sack that is down there in that pile somewhere. But that's okay because now we're going to use them on the PCT. So yeah, the bear vault will get to us in Kennedy Meadows, and we will carry it for the entire way that we need to carry it, and we'll go back to the sacks. But also with my PCT gear, I am going to have my mom ship me my outdoor research gloves. These are, I think, the sensor gloves. These are the ones I took on the AT. They're not waterproof, but they are pretty warm, and I even wear them at home these days. So I like these. They work coming out, and they are touchscreen, so just not that important on the trail. But and then lastly, coming to the Sierras with me will be these are my Athleta Polar Tech fleece lined leggings. I'm not sure exactly how much I'll need these for the Sierra, but I don't really know what I don't know. This is what I had in the colder months on the AT, and I did really enjoy wearing them. It does have 2 holes in it. There's one like on the side here, and then there's one on the knee, but they're really comfy, and they have the side pockets, and they are pretty warm. So I think that they worked, and they'll work again for what I need them to. I think that is pretty much everything that I am bringing along with me on the PCT. So as I was doing my little like gear square photos, and excuse my hair, but I just found a whole little bag that I forgot to talk about. So I am also bringing my watercolor supplies with me out in a little bag. So this is my Moleskine watercolor journal. These aren't watercolors, but these are postcard stamps, because if you followed me along the AT, I sent my mom postcards from every town. So I went ahead and grabbed some of those. These are my little other art supply tools. So I have a water brush, a pen for my postcards, a mechanical pencil, and lastly a micron pen, which this is really good for like when you do watercolors to just add some ink to them. And then my favorite thing about my little watercolor kit is this little palette that I got that was a collaboration between Art Toolkit and Trailbound Sketches, and it's got a little hiking footprint on it, and on the back it says Trailbound Sketches and it says Paint It Forward. So if you like to do art in like a travel format, then you should definitely check out Art Toolkit. And these are my little watercolors. So I didn't do much painting on the AT like I wanted. I'm hoping I do better on the PCT. If I don't, my rule is to myself is that I have to send it home this year if I don't paint. But I wanted to make sure I chatted about that. So sorry for this weird little ending interruption, but I wanted to make sure I talked about my little art stuff that hopefully I'll get to use and make some beautiful art on the trail. We're super excited. Again, we fly out to San Diego tomorrow and then we start the trail a few days later, and we cannot wait to take you all along on this adventure. Please let me know if you have any questions about my gear. If you're wondering about something specific that Barbie might have, please let me know and I'm happy to share what he's taking with him. And yeah, we're just excited to go on this adventure, and I'm excited to see what works and what kind of gear I like this time, and maybe what ends up at the end with me. And yeah, Treats and Barbie are excited to head out on the Pacific Crest Trail. Thanks for watching.